The Catholic Church is kind of having a moment right now. In what seems to be a complete reversal of where we were 20 years ago, the church actually appears to be growing in much of the United States. Parishes and campus ministries are reporting record number of people entering the church through OCIA. Vocations are up across the board, and conferences like Seek and NCYC are beginning to outgrow major venues. And if that isn't surprising enough, these increased numbers are not coming from older generations returning to church, but rather younger ones coming for the first time. Recent reporting has suggested that Gen Z, those aged 13 through 28, are actually the most consistent churchgoers across all denominations. What the what? I was on this channel not 3 years ago, talking about how we needed to take seriously our evangelization efforts today lest we fade into obscurity, that people are not just going to show up on our doorsteps looking to join the church, and then people just started showing up on our doorsteps looking to join the church. What? Now, before we throw a parade, I don't think that our problems are magically fixed and we can just quit our efforts right now. Even with these recent increases, most people are still not living as disciples of Jesus, and the largest generation of priests and religious are about to start retiring and passing away, so we've got a lot of work to do. But there are signs of hope. The Catholic Church is absolutely having a moment right now. And so the question we have to ask ourselves is, why? What is fundamentally different about the church and world today than, say, 10 years ago when we were still in free fall and millennials were leaving the church in droves? Why is Gen Z different? I think that there are 3 reasons, each with its own hope and challenge, and I'll admit the last one is a bit of a controversial one. Number 1. Cynicism and anxiety about the world. Among the most defining features of Gen Z is their cynicism and anxiety about the world around us. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not to say that y'all don't have wonderful qualities as well. Your sense of humor is unrivaled. You're incredibly creative. You are transforming the workplace and discussions around mental health in ways that my generation could only dream to. You do a lot of things really well. But you're also really cynical and anxious. Whereas my generation grew up in a largely peaceful, globally thriving world, leading us to believe that the world was generally good and could make us ultimately happy, this was never the case for you. You grew up in a post-9/11 world. You've seen multiple recessions, a global pandemic, the dismantling of the American political system and destabilization of the civil world order, and the worst era of Star Wars movies. And to add gasoline to the fire, social media has amplified fringe voices, forced us to stay constantly connected while also leaving us isolated, bombarded us with negativity, and made people afraid of becoming the next meme. As you would say, we're cooked. For better or for worse, Gen Z isn't buying the hopeful story anymore. There is no trust in organizations, no motivation to be a part of the rat race, no hope that the world will work itself out. That ship has sailed. If we're going to be happy, it is not coming from something as broken as this world. While I would like to challenge you to be a little more hopeful and to see that there are a lot of good things and people in the world, we'll get to that later, the cynicism and anxiety that you possess has caused you to break free of the shallow promises that the world has been feeding us for millennia and to look for meaning elsewhere. To look for meaning in something that has been proven to last, in something that has stood up to criticism and still moves forward, in something not of human making, but from beyond. Yes. In Jesus Christ and his church. And not just the church in general, what we're seeing is in the Catholic and Orthodox churches particularly, institutions with history, with foundations, with transcendent liturgies and ancient practices, traditions so old we've often forgotten where they've come from. This is not just some TikTok trend that will captivate the world today and be gone tomorrow. This is something that matters, that gives our lives stability and purpose and challenges us to deeper holiness. The church is a steady ship guiding us where we need to be, a strong levee against the crashing waves of the world, a peaceful shelter from the chaos around us. It is in Jesus Christ that this generation has finally found someone to trust, and so for the first time, they can relax. Why are so many people joining the church today? Well, at least in part, because the world has proven itself incapable of providing lasting happiness, and people are looking for something deeper, stronger, and more reliable. But there is another reason. Number 2, access to information and community. When I was growing up, if you wanted to learn about the Catholic Church, you had to go to the Catholic Church. Sure, there were books and the internet was starting to begin, but we didn't like reading back then either, and there was no real way to stumble into good materials. Today, social media rules our attention and the algorithm is king. More than in any time in history, you can access millions of hours of good, inspiring, helpful content about our faith from anywhere in the world. For better or for worse, you can find yourself introduced to Christian content and sucked down a rabbit hole, even if that's not what you were looking for. On this channel alone, you will find nearly 700 videos. At the time of the making of this video, there are 146 Catholicism in Focus videos explaining some part of our faith in simple, accessible language. I also have an Instagram and TikTok account that produce different types of videos showing insights into my life and offering hopeful images of the church. Of course, my channel isn't the only or even most significant one. You've got the OG, Bishop Barron, who has over 1,700 videos. Ascension Present, over 1,800. Father Mike's podcast is one of the most listened to in all of America, and Katie McGrady is killing it on her radio show. Just the fact that there is a celebrity culture is wild to me now, that there are national and international figures, besides the Pope, that kids can look up to, that normalize the church and present it as cool and make it accessible to anyone. This has allowed conferences like Seek and NCYC to be not just small informational sessions teens are forced to go to by their DREs, but exciting, faith-filled encounters that attract thousands of people each year. Things like this didn't exist a generation ago, at least not at this scale, not to this level of excitement. If you've ever been to a conference like this, heard inspiring talks with thousands of people around you, you know that it can change you. The internet and Catholic conferences have attracted new audiences, connected people to the church, and enlivened us like never before. It has made the church visible, accessible, and frankly, attractive in a way that it never has been before. Why are so many people joining the church today? Because for many, they're seeing what it can be in all of its splendor for the very first time. Then again, not everyone is attracted to it for the same or even good reasons, which is why we need to be wary of a third possible reason that the church is growing today. 3. The church can be a political hideout. As much as I want to believe that the first two reasons are driving all of our growth, that people are coming to us because they want to be disciples of Jesus Christ and give their lives completely over to the life of the church, there is at least some evidence to suggest that politics plays a part as well. Particularly among men, the Catholic Church offers conservative-friendly cover in the culture wars. Data suggests that Gen Z, especially Gen Z men, are more conservative than millennials were at the same age. It's because of this that what initially attracts a lot of them to the church isn't the teachings on mercy, solidarity, or social justice, but its clarity around sexuality, gender, authority, and traditional family life. Which, don't get me wrong, are not bad things. These are good things. These are legitimate teachings of the church. The church should be a moral voice that challenges a confused and often incoherent culture. If people are drawn in by the truth the church speaks, no matter what it is, that's a good thing. As long as that attraction ultimately leads to conversion in Jesus Christ and doesn't merely provide political cover for positions they already hold. What concerns me, and what I think we need to be honest about, is when people take the name Catholic but do not convert their entire hearts to Catholicism. When someone comes into the church because of a political agreement on certain issues, but seems interested only in using the church to bolster their position on those issues in the culture wars, rather than being shaped by the fullness of Catholic teaching. In those cases, politics doesn't get converted by faith, faith gets subordinated by politics. I see it in new converts who are on fire for the church, excited for how the church challenges the world, until the church challenges them. When the conversation turns to immigration, economic justice, racism, care for the poor, or the radical demands of the Beatitudes, suddenly the church is confused, compromised, or too political. Unfortunately, this is not a straw man or a rare hypothetical. I've experienced this more than a few times, and it is something worth being aware of. Some people are just more interested in the political capital the church possesses than they are in a life with Jesus. Why are so many people joining the church today? At least in part, it's because of politics. And so, what do we do with this information? How do we seize the moment that we're in right now? I believe that we must build upon what already attracts them to us to provide a fuller picture of the church. For those running from a chaotic world and looking for stability, maybe that means leaning into traditional liturgical styles, devotional practices, and clarity in teaching, offering a reliable place to get their footing. And then we offer the challenge to see that there are parts of the world that are actually good and give us reasons for hope, that our faith can grow through innovation, not just tradition. Meet them where they are and challenge them to go further. For those enamored with Catholic celebrity culture and online resources, let's continue to bolster our media efforts and grow our conferences so that more people than ever can encounter inspirational figures. And then we can offer the challenge to move from fans of celebrities to followers of Jesus, from consumers of content to committing to an embodied lifestyle. We meet them where they are and challenge them to go further. And for those seeking moral clarity in the culture wars, we must not back down from difficult conversations or hide from our stances on conservative issues. In fact, this might be our moment where we emphasize these things more. And then we offer the challenge to see the whole picture, to not just baptize our politics, but to actually transform us to want and to love all that God does, to go beyond the desire to win a culture war and instead desire to win hearts. No matter what initially attracts someone to a life in Jesus, conversion is always necessary. It's exciting that so many people are showing up to our doors, but we're not just looking for warm bodies with bank accounts and influence. We're looking to form missionary disciples, people who put Jesus above all and begin to think like God does, not the world. None of us shows up perfectly ready to live this life. No one is a saint from the moment of their baptism, and that's fine. The fact that people are showing up incomplete is not only to be expected, but welcomed. Trust that God will continue to move in their hearts and work yourself to be an example of the fullness of God's teachings.